Second chapter is about e-commerce and Indian perspective. There is a phase 1 for e-commerce. Look at the phase 1. The first phase of e-commerce lasted from 1996 to 2001. It helped in shaping new rules of commercial transactions in the electronic marketplace. India followed the models of developed countries while creating e-commerce models, without realizing that one needs technology tools and business maturity to understand this new medium of business. The result was mushrooming of dot-coms as new business engines without proper infrastructure. The dot-com bubble burst of 2001 gave useful lessons in terms of e-commerce. That is, without the spread of technology, development of critical infrastructure, one cannot have revenue generation from these kind of e-commerce activities. Now there was a phase 2 for e-commerce, that is post 2002. The useful lesson which e-commerce realm got was one has to have sensible business model which should not only work technology wise but also business wise. It also gave a message that without electronic banking, e-commerce will not be successful. Next point is about the changing perception of e-commerce. The reason of this change in perception from phase 1 to phase 2 is as follows. Look at the first reason, better information technology infrastructure. E-business models are moving from proprietary EDI specific solutions to internet. Next reason, look at the next reason, wider acceptance of online payment system. Online payment mechanism means payment and acceptance of virtual money. Any such online payment system requires not only the parties transacting business over the net but also a payment gateway facilitating such transactions. Illustratively, credit cards and other models of online payment. Proprietary online payments systems like CyberCash, eCash can be used online for market making payments such as secure socket layer. Smart cards are being used over public terminals, etc. A system of credit card transactions over the internet is being currently developed jointly by Visa and MasterCard with technical assistance from companies like Netscape, IBM, which is known as secure electronic transaction. The adoption of digital or electronic signatures as an authentication standard provides integrity, confidentiality and non-repudiation of electronic records for legal recognition of electronic contracts and legal sanctity to online payment system. Look at the next point, legal recognition of e-commerce practices. Legal recognition to e-commerce practices has come a long way from the initial adoption of ancestral model law on e-commerce by General Assembly of the United Nations in early 1997. The purpose is to encourage the use of electronic commerce and to provide nations with model legislation governing the use of alternative to paper-based models of communication and storage of information. It is based on functional equivalent approach and gives legal acceptance to electronic records and digital signatures, that is asymmetric crypto system. Now look at the next point, adoption of security standards by the industry. Business thrives on safety, security and trust, whether it is offline or online. Internet being an open, integrated and public system requires far better security coverage than its offline counterparts. It needs an encryption technology which provides confidentiality, authentication, integrity, non-repudiation, auditability. Now look at the next chapter. It is about from e-commerce to Mcommerce. One of the rapidly growing areas of e-commerce is mobile or Mcommerce. Mcommerce was born due to new technological advances such as GSM networks, web protocols, wireless application protocol is for accessing information over mobile wireless network and 3G technologies. Actually, Mcommerce was long perceived but was first introduced in 1990s. By using innovative technologies, mobile operators have promised to consumers more effective ways of communication and transacting their business. If e-commerce can be seen as dynamic commercial process, then Mcommerce can be referred to as dynamic techno-commercial process. It is far more consumer oriented than e-commerce practices. Mcommerce depends on the efficient assimilation and adaptation of technology by the consumer, for the consumer and of the consumer. In the last 20 years, the world has seen evolution of new communication technologies which can be described as follows. For example, take a generation of 1G mobile to 4G mobiles. It is important here to point out that a website is useful if it does something practical, such as allow customer to access their accounts or business to cut cost by improving streamlining business processes. Similarly, if Mcommerce is competent, e-commerce, it must have practical applications. Moreover, Mcommerce has its own distinctive features, namely personalization, on-demand services and micropayments. Secondly, Mcommerce is about the personalization. It includes made-for-me services like ringtone, gaming, etc. SMS, instant messaging, mobile blogging, mobile banking, etc. It is about on-demand services. All information, especially personal information, has to cope up with new demand. It is about micropayments. It is a financial payment in an amount that is small relative to the transaction cost that would be incurred in making the payment using traditional payment mechanism. Take an example. Desktop access has migrated to mobile environment. Now, the important point is about difference between Mcommerce and e-commerce. The question over here is there any difference between two? The answer is yes, and it is no also. Yes, in the sense that in India, for the large section of society, e-commerce meant use of the computer and computer network for online transactions. The e-commerce remained confined to metropolitan centers. There existed a digital divide, digital haves and digital have-nots. On the other hand, in the last 15 years, mobile phone is the first screen for the majority of the population, whereas for urban population in India, mobile has been the third screen. The earlier two were the TV and computer. This difference has made use of mobile applications complementary for urban dwellers for e-commerce purposes and supplementary for the rest of the population. And no in the sense that Mcommerce is a logical extension of e-commerce processes. E-commerce includes Mcommerce. These days, desktops are mobile, and with the result of all e-commerce applications are available on the mobile phone as well. It is for the user to decide from where he is performing commercial transaction, whether from a computer or from a communication device. Now, look at the comparison between e-commerce and Mcommerce. You can refer table 3, which describes comparison between two. E-commerce is about client-server approach, while Mcommerce is about mobile agent approach. E-commerce is about the searching processes. It may be boring and repetitive, but in case of Mcommerce, the mobile agent can do the searching as per the specification of requirement. In case of e-commerce, the search processes ties down resources while you visit each site in turn. While in case of Mcommerce, the search processes frees up your resources. In case of e-commerce, if the network gets down, you may need to search it from the beginning. But in case of Mcommerce, it is less dependent on the network condition, as the searching is gone at the remote sites by mobile agent. E-commerce is time consuming because you visit the sites only one by one. But Mcommerce is efficient as the search can be proceeded in parallel by sending out multiple agents. In case of e-commerce, device is immovable or portable, public or private. For example, desktop, PC, notebook, etc. While in case of Mcommerce, the device can be portable handy private device, for example mobile, PDA, etc.